One conversation, guys. One conversation.
I'm that one, okay? And I can explain. We went through a process that's about 5 years ago. We changed our board philosophy. And when we did that, we moved into a different set of values. The first thing we did was we went from a policy-making board to a development board. So we have a policy called give, get, and get off. And so what's happened is each one of my board members has a dollar amount that they must raise.
Oh, good.
The hierarchy in regards to how we build our leadership starts with the fact that you cannot become a member of our board of directors unless you are willing within 2 to 3 years to take a leadership stance, which means that you can go from being an assistant secretary to president. And so we have an election process, but ordinarily our vice chair becomes the chair-elect. Our chair-elect becomes chairman, unless there's been some sort of malfeasance. We have a review process that we go through. We fixed our board issue. We don't have anybody on our board that doesn't have a particular skill set that we miss or that we need. And then our board grades itself every other meeting. We have a board report that shows what you've given, where you're at against your set of requirements. And then if you don't meet them, it is under a policy that the board president has to send you a letter that says that you are not where you're supposed to be. And within 60 days, if you don't respond to that, you are removed from the board based on bylaws. I don't have a board issue.
Wow.
And so we fixed that part of our piece of what we do. So it's very simple. I mean, we got to be ultra successful by fixing our board issue. And so we don't have board issue.
What I'll say is I misinterpreted the question. So I thought it was, what are the priorities of the chamber, not, to your point, for your particular chamber.
But I think we brought out the right thing in this dialogue, which is, and this is the implication of best practices, right, Ron? This is the whole idea. We got ourselves a best practice here. Yeah. And the whole implication of when we get to that is, you may have one in another area, but if everybody can approach it like that, you're going to have some significant impact there, because the experience is it worked, it was disciplined. By the way, the board probably loves it because they're accountable, they feel like they've got a good process, et cetera. And so when we get into best practices, that's exactly what we're trying to bring out. But I think it did what we want, which is, wow, how can this be a 1 for somebody? Well, it is because they kind of worked it, et cetera. So I think that's exactly what we wanted to get.
I just want to point out, and this is for all the topics that are up here, all the subjects, in that if you're not having an issue with one of these topics, you can put it as a 1. Right. And that goes for boards or whatever we're talking about. Whereas if it is an issue or has been an issue, you may rank it a lot higher. So it's a perception issue on how you read and what the perception of the question is.
Fair enough. So 2 more comments here, and then I want to finish up with an assessment. As I'm asking you to go back to some of the needs that we identified before, and we're going to ask you to do kind of an assessment. Be really clear, though, is how effective you feel you've been today in addressing those needs. So I'll try to take out the ambiguity of that again.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned was kind of what is interesting about what you interpret from the ordering of this.
Yeah.
And to me, what I kind of internalized from this was, this is basically the infrastructure of building the business that leads you down to getting the funding. So it's having a solid board of directors in place, having an effective chamber strategy, balancing the chamber leadership or having effective chamber leadership, communicating your vision, your mission out to people, and then getting resources. And so it seems to me like a logical kind of path of how you actually get funded. But it's, it's just kind of the opposite way. I think a lot of people think that you start off the gate going and running to talk to Dell. But Dell wants to see your strategic plan, and you need to have certain things in place before you can talk to them. So this makes sense to me.
All right, let's